At this time, please allow me to present Bridget Whitman Murphy, our 2022 Great Bay graduate and today's commencement student speaker. Bridget.
Good morning, and thank you for being here on this very hot day to celebrate all of us. I'm sure I speak for all the graduates when we say that we are so grateful that all of you are here today. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience at Great Bay and how I got here. Over 10 years ago, I sat in my high school guidance counselor's office discussing college plans. My mom was a single disabled parent and had encouraged me to consider community college to alleviate the cost of school. I asked my guidance counselor about it that day. He said, and I quote, "I wouldn't send a dog I liked to a community college." After that conversation, I applied to exactly 0 community colleges. I went to a state school. At the time, I didn't realize that I was suffering from undiagnosed depression and anxiety, which shockingly didn't improve in a new environment full of new challenges. When I realized I was struggling, I reached out to the school for help. They told me to ask my professors for extensions on papers, but beyond that, they had nothing to offer me. My health got worse, and when I reached out for help again, they suggested I take the rest of the semester off. That stretched into the rest of the year, and then I dropped out, too afraid of failure to return. I decided college was not for me, and that I would just do my best in life without pursuing the degree I had dreamed of. Several years later, my auntie Diana, who was in her 50s at the time, went back to school. She worked so hard to finish her degree while working full-time, and she did it. I started to think, if she can, maybe I can too. I stared at the photo of her, degree in hand, clad in cap and gown, and wondered if maybe college could be in my future after all. I knew that my only shot to afford school now, as a young working adult, was community college. I hesitated. I was fearful that the work I had done on my depression and anxiety wouldn't matter, that symptoms would return full strength under the pressure of work and school simultaneously. And my guidance counselor's comment from years ago still echoed in my memory. But my loved ones encouraged me, namely my best friend and my then boyfriend, who are both here today, and my mom, who is here with me in spirit. So I applied, I got in, and at the age of 24, I started my time here at Great Bay, attending part-time while also working 40 to 50-hour weeks, as many of you sitting in front of me have done as well. I told myself that community college would be good enough. I thought it would be better than nothing and would at least get my foot in the door for new opportunities. But I was frankly shocked to find that I was challenged here. I was up late studying, doing homework while the children I nannied for napped, and truly had to push myself in order to get good grades. It was far from the easy ride I had anticipated, and I loved it. I felt like I was getting the real college experience, and I soon realized that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. My first semester, I was taking a required writing course, and I missed the deadline for a paper. Remembering my previous experience, I assumed I would not be able to turn it in late and resigned myself to getting a 0. The following week, my professor, Dr. Mary Sullivan, noticed my class grade. "Why do you have a C in my class when you should be an A student?" she asked me. I explained about the paper I had missed, and she said, "Don't you think you should have just talked to me about it?" She gave me a week to do the paper for partial credit, and I left her class with an A and the realization that I may not be on my own here. I began to ask for help again, ready to be dismissed as I was years ago. And yet, I wasn't. I asked my professors for help when I didn't understand something, and they gladly went above and beyond to give it to me. I utilized the CAPS tutoring services and learned from my own peers. I went to the One Stop, where they seemed to know the answer to every question, or at least which department to send me to with my many dilemmas. When I struggled with stress, feeling overwhelmed, and my mental health in general, my teachers didn't turn me away. They listened and offered solutions, which allowed me to keep going. I emailed my student advisor more times than I can count those first 2 semesters, while I changed my plans and course schedule until I settled on what I wanted to do in my future career: work as a birth and postpartum doula. Only there aren't degrees in doula services, so I stuck with psychology, and my advisor encouraged me to ask my professors how I could relate coursework to my future goals. This was my second shocking revelation. I have a say in my own education at a school like Great Bay. My professors were thrilled to let me cater my projects and papers toward my future career. My nutrition teacher, Professor Andrea Loving, let me do my final paper on the dietary needs of people who are breastfeeding. And in human growth and development, Professor Fran Chickering allowed me to write one on shoulder dystocia, a common birth complication. In abnormal psychology with Dr. Sarah Lavoie, I did a massive paper on postpartum mental health issues in the United States. And most recently, under the guidance of Dr. Amy Heward, I performed a community-based research study on stress levels for pregnant and birthing people right here in the Seacoast community, research which I am hoping will one day be published. Great Bay's commitment to helping students doesn't end in the classroom. When my mother's health was declining, I reached out to staff here for help finding resources for her, and Brittany Mulkegian jumped at the opportunity to assist a member of the community. When COVID hit, all our staff worked hard to begin distance learning as soon as possible. The school sent out applications for grants for financial assistance to those impacted by the pandemic and subscribed to online therapy for students so that we could have free access to mental health care. This move hit particularly close to home for me. I once attended a college that strongly encouraged me to leave when I struggled with my mental health. And now the community college for which I once held such disdain was offering me free therapy. Great Bay has seen me grow so much during these years. When the boyfriend who once encouraged me to enroll became my fiance, my professor and classmates celebrated my engagement with me before we started class, like members of a strong community do. When I took a semester off to marry him, my advisor stayed in touch with me and helped me plan classes during a summer semester so that I could still graduate on my planned schedule. And I just have to add, while my professors and peers celebrated my milestones with him, he was encouraging me and celebrating my school success. Rick, thank you for everything. I wouldn't be up here without you. We did it. CAPS helped me sign up for placement testing this last semester so that I could utilize my existing knowledge for credits to lessen my workload during the home stretch. And when both of my parents passed away, my professors didn't hesitate to give me extensions on due dates and offered me their wisdom and sympathy during my darkest hours. The biggest difference between Great Bay and other colleges is not the lower tuition, it's not the smaller class sizes, it's not the incredible work of the staff members, or even the welcoming atmosphere of the students. What really makes Great Bay stand out is the way that they believe in all of us. They make academia accessible to people like me who may not have been able to succeed in a traditional college setting, or who know that there is more than one path to success nowadays. They challenge us to be our best, as all good colleges do, but what makes them stand out is that they provide resources to make our best more attainable to us. They elevate not only our intellect, but our spirit and our mental wellness as well. They cater to all of us from different backgrounds, going down different future paths, and make us work hard while teaching us to advocate for ourselves and help one another. My cap today has a quote from one of America's greatest songwriters. It says, "Long story short, I survived." And that's true, I did. But more than that, I thrived. I rose to the challenge, and I learned that this stigma society has surrounding community college is useless. We could debate if it's based in ignorance or misinformation or classism or the increasing inaccessibility of academia, but what matters most is that Great Bay breaks down those walls and proves the stereotypes wrong. Truthfully, I think most colleges, whether they be other community schools, state universities, or even Ivy League, could learn from this approach. I would suggest Great Bay to my friends, to my family, to my nieces, or my own future children. And yes, I would absolutely send a dog I liked to this school. They would all be lucky, as I am lucky, to be a Great Bay Heron, to be standing here today among hard workers who never gave up, all of us who remained resilient and determined and forged a path that was right for us with the help of an incredibly empowering institution of higher learning. We've worked tirelessly to be in these coveted caps and gowns. We had different ways of getting here, whether it took 2 years, 4, or 8, whether you're an adult returning to school after years away, going to career training after this, or getting your gen eds done before going on to a 4-year school, or if this is enough and you are done after you walk across this stage today. You never gave up, and I am honored to graduate alongside you. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into these degrees. I am proud to be a Great Bay Heron, and whatever path led you here today, I hope that you are proud as well, because you earned this. We all did. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2022.